Hello, I'm Clint Walker, and this is Real Estate Appraiser Secrets. And today we're going to answer the question, how far can an appraiser go in search of comparable sales? So the only answer that's ever always correct in appraising is it depends. And it's the only correct answer no matter what any other appraiser mistakenly tells you. Sometimes, appraisers will shoot from the hip, or just in an effort to maybe try to be helpful, they'll give you an answer to a question like this. But the only correct answer is that it depends, because when you're searching for comps, and you're expanding your search parameters based on trying to find more sales, it depends on things like how important is the location of where the subject's at. Is it in a townhome community and there's not another townhome community anywhere? In that situation, or anywhere within reason, in that situation, it's probably extremely important to stay within the community for your comparable sales. Are you in a part of town that is very densely built up, like some of our areas right around downtown Nashville here? In those cases, even going a mile can get you into a totally different neighborhood of houses that will indicate different values. And so maybe in that sense, a mile is even way too far, and you need to stay within a quarter of a mile or something, or even a few blocks. I just did one in a historic neighborhood, and it was obviously, based on the comps, very important to stay just within that historic neighborhood, irregardless of how far or near it was, how big the geographical area was. So it depends. Now, those are examples of situations where it would be appropriate to stay very, very close. I've had other inspections and other appraisals where I've gone 20 miles for a comparable sale, because maybe it's a rural area and so everything is just naturally more spread out, or the property's got something unique, and the only way that I can go find a generally comparable property would be to go far and wide. So your appraiser will do that as long as at the end of the report, what they have selected in comparable sales can produce a credible opinion of value. That's sort of the crux. If it doesn't do that, then you can't use it. And then there's also some other things that we got to make sure, if we are going 20 miles away, we need to be able to talk about whether there is a difference. Sometimes the base level assumption is when you go that far, there might be a difference. And so you need to address whether there is or not, I've gone to different counties before, and there's nothing really even wrong with that, so long as you can account for the difference if there is one. So that's sort of the rules of physical location, how far and wide we can go. The other thing that sort of I like to think about this in this terms is, that's how far we can go in geography. There's also how far we can go as far as time. And I've read some good advice lately that with the way our market currently is in most areas, agents shouldn't go further back in time than 3 months when looking at comparable sales. That's good advice, but if 3 months doesn't yield you good results, or any, it doesn't yield you enough data to advise your client or come up with a price, then you got to go back further. And it's the same for appraising. I did one, going back to the historic property I just did. I knew that it was a high priority, and I sort of think about these things in terms of the priority. And you, as an agent who's familiar with the market where you're going to list this property, should know what is a high priority feature in that market. And if you don't, the NAR Code of Ethics would suggest that you have to go figure it out by talking to another agent or even hiring an appraiser. But you figure out what the high priority things are in this market, and that will sort of dictate how far in geography, or how far in time, or what you can do to find comps to come to terms or to come to a decision on price or come to some advice on price. So I was doing this one in this historical neighborhood and staying close by inside the historical overlay, inside this neighborhood that everybody wants to be in, was obviously very important. Okay, going outside of it, especially because of the age, was difficult to make adjustments to the comps because I don't know, all the factors that we need to determine like land values and things just weren't really there because of the specifics of this area. So what I determined was that the best thing to do, well, I didn't have any, I guess I'm backing up, staying inside the neighborhood, I did not have the comps I needed to bracket this property in the way that needed to be done. I couldn't go outside it. That wasn't going to yield me the most credible results. But what I could do is go back in time. And so even on this lender report, I went back, I think, as far as 18, almost 24 months, because I had an idea that, you know, I didn't have the sales needed within 12 months, maybe they would be within 24. And then I can analyze market conditions over the last 24 months and make an appropriate adjustment for that time. And so that's what I did. I went back 24 months, and then all of these great comps were revealed to me. And just because they are, in fact, the best comps, then that's all I need to explain to the lender as to why I'm using these old sales. And of course, my report's going to have some newer comps in there, and those newer comps aren't going to be physically the best comps for the subject, but they're newer, so they're covering this sort of most current market conditions in those sales. And I take the older sales that are the best physical comps for the subject, like in size and basement and lot size and functionality and all that, and then I can adjust those to current market conditions. And now I've got this whole array of sales that are all reasonable to use, even though they all individually you might raise an eyebrow at them because of either, you know, just because of their characteristics. But on the whole, in informing my opinion of value and for creating a whole report, they all make sense together. So that's a lot of explanation to say that your appraiser has priorities in this regard. They have priorities about how far away they're going to go to find comps. They have priorities about how far back in time they're going to go. The lender has guidelines, and these can vary by lender, but the lender usually wants them sort of the same as we know them as agents. They want them within a year, they want them within a mile. But if those things can't happen, the appraiser just needs a good explanation as to why they're going further. And to that end, we can go as far back in time or as far away in location as we need to, and as we can reasonably adjust for, to find the comps we need to produce a credible opinion of value. So as an agent, as an agent, we don't operate under this rule of objectivity like an appraiser does. I would discourage you from, you know, jumping to the conclusion that you should go back in time or go way further away to find comps. You really need to look to sort of go down this priority checklist of close by, close in time, similar in physical features. And if you've got like good comps there, 3 to 10, just enough comps that you can see what the market is saying right now that property should be, I discourage you from pushing it and going further and going back in time just to try to get more money, because your appraiser will come in as an objective party, and if they got sufficient data now, that's as far as they're going, because of this priority system that we sort of operate on. But if the data's not there now, go far, go back in time, and find enough data that to figure out what a reasonable value for this property is, or a reasonable asking price on the agent side. So I hope that's helpful. If I can be of service to you in this regard, you can find me on appraiserpool.com. We can do consultations, professional measurements, and appraisals. And I hope that you have a great rest of your week and have a great holiday season. Talk to you later. Bye.